great undrafted stories of recent years.
There's a big jump by Dexter McCoy. Talked about Ray against his former team. This is his 5th start against the Eskimos as an Argo. He's just 1-3 against his old team. This guy's had a monster season.
A number of good rookies on the defensive side of the ball.
Offside. Edmonton number 45. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Well, they're aggressive. They're ball hawks. Sometimes a little too jumpy.
Mixing up that snap count a little bit. Again, we talked about from the opening of this game, a couple of coaches very familiar with each other. Milanovic knows Jones is going to be very aggressive, trying to come after the quarterback.
Ray batted down. You saw the numbers, penalties against the Eskimos. They have piled up all season long. The Eskimos have taken more penalties and been penalized more yardage than any team. So something that they have to shore up here today in Toronto.
And you saw that ball batted down by one of the new Eskimos, Bo Adebayo, plucked off the Montreal Alouettes practice roster due to the injuries to their national defensive linemen.
2nd and 5. Chad Owens.
Alonso.
Siap looks like the spot is going to be right at the first down marker.
And a couple of receivers into that short side of the field, both Owens and Robert Gill running the quick outs.
Alonzo Lawrence, who used to play here in Toronto. Draw play to perfection. Curtis Steele busting outside. Knocked out of bounds by Alonzo Lawrence. That is textbook. The delayed draw.
Yeah, and a great job done by this Argo offensive line. Steele just offsetting that backfield. Double teaming up to second level for the center, keeping key block there from your right guard. Wayne Smith.
Steele again. An Argo team again that's anticipating the return of Chad Cackert. We'll have to shake some rust off as well, but Curtis Steele and Steve Slayton doing their very best to hang on.
Yeah, Curtis Steele came into today's game with 437 yards on the ground. Slayton in his action 224 receiving yards. The two have combined for nearly 50 catches out of the backfield as well.
And again, an offense that piles up the yardage. 2nd and 4. And piling forward close to another first down. Argos use the run game here in this drive. Team that is predominantly pass first, especially with one of the highest percentage quarterbacks in the history of the CFL.
A team that can be pass first because of the nature of their passing game. A lot of short, quick passes that essentially the running game in terms of the play calling.
I saw the spot is going to be about a yard shy of the first down. So once again, Swayze Waters will come back out. Already 1 for 1. This one about a yard shorter than the previous. Maybe a yard and a half. And now the Argos show a little razzle-dazzle. Trevor Harris now calling a play. And whistles blow and confusion everywhere.
Timeout, Toronto.
And the Argos burn a timeout. And you might have thought that Scott Milanovic might have a trick or two up his sleeve. This one, however, not pulled off.
Well, fighting fire with fire, you're going to see a number of guys split out, including Swayze Waters. And Trevor Harris will get up under center. But Harris clearly didn't like how things looked from his angle. Time clock's ticking down.
Wait for a whistle.
But they're now going to go for it on third down. And bursting forward, needing that second effort. This is going to depend on the spot. We have a flag, though, on the far side of the field. It all could be moot based on the penalty. So Scott Milanovich tried to reach into his bag of tricks against his old buddy, Chris Jones, and decided to go for the quarterback sneak.
It's one of those fakes where you're not sure what you're going to get alignment-wise from the defense. I think Trevor Harris didn't like what he saw and looked like he may have had a couple of people that didn't get where they needed to get to either.
Illegal formation, no end, Toronto. 5-yard penalty. Repeat third down.
So not this time. There will be no quarterback sneak. And as Trevor Harris was into his cadence, clearly the Eskimos also could bring their players up, and that play quickly was extinguished. So now Swayze Waters will attempt a field goal, unless they do the absolutely unthinkable and do it again. Harris to hold. So now it's from the 47.
Long field goal. The Argos get their coverage personnel in for a longer field goal attempt, replacing a couple of offensive linemen with defensive linemen who can run and tackle a little bit better should they miss.
This guy can't miss this season, though. And he can't miss Swayze Waters, having an outstanding year. Perfect today, over 90% on the season. And the 14-point lead is restored here in Toronto. 7 Central. Couple of flashes on both sides here today. 13-point lead for the Argos. 20-7. Almost 5 minutes gone, second quarter. Here comes the rush again. Riley, lots of steamboats here. Lots of time looking downfield for an open man. Now he just chucks it. And Fred Stamps has it batted away by Jaleel Carter.
Well, this play was 100% sandlot. The Eskimos line up with it. Tight end is the only receiver into the boundary. 4 receivers to the field. Fred Stamps started off his route all the way to the offensive left, which was towards the boundary side, and then as Riley rolled and started scrambling a little bit.
Toronto number 53. 10-yard penalty. First down.
So the Eskimos still move the sticks.
And there you see Riley scrambling towards that wide side, and Stamps, as he works towards him, came all the way across the field. On this one, Jaleel Carter doing a great job to stay with one of the CFL's best.
Greg Jones, illegal contact. Quick hitter. Fred Stamps, his first reception. Down year as well for Fred Stamps. Keep in mind that he has been also nursing some hurts, some injuries. This guy who's had 5 straight 1,000-yard seasons. That brings him to 400 yards on the season. 23 catches, just 2 touchdowns. 11 major scores a year ago. Second down and 4. Riley in rhythm again. Stamps on the hookup. Carter with the big hit. This is Mike Riley football right here.
Well, nickel and diming his way down the field.
And very similar to the guy who was in Edmonton a few years ago, Ricky Ray. Nickel dime, and then all of a sudden
Look for the big
Bingo.
shot.
Boom.
The Eskimos certainly have those guys who can go after the home run ball.
And also a guy who can scamper, though. One of the best runners in the game. Now John White. This is only his second carry, considering he had almost 200 yards on the ground last week against Saskatchewan. John White seriously underused so far. 2 carries, just a yard. Fred Stamps slow to get up.
Well, Stamps found him in the middle of a pretty big collision right at the point of attack. He came down with a bit of a crack block. It looked like he may have taken a shot from another Eskimo. May have been his partner in crime, Darius Bowman, coming the other way that caught him. There you see John White, 192 yards on the ground in his last outing. His last couple games have been monsters. 2 games back-to-back, averaging combined over 12 yards a carry.
Out of the backfield to John White. Gigantic week last week in that blitzing of the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
We'll look back at John White's body of work. 199 yards from scrimmage for him on 19 touches, a couple of touchdowns, a threat to go the distance every time he touched the football. You combine John White rolling like he was with Mike Riley and his running ability, and Schultze said it off the top of the show, they're tough to stop, tough to defend.
Former star in Utah, they called him the Wolfman there. And the reason they called him the Wolfman is because of that tattoo. The guy loves wolves. Has that tattoo on his chest. This guy howled in Utah, howled last week. John White, the 4th, the Wolfman.
And there you see the numbers I talked about over the last 2 games, 12.3 yards per carry. And it's not just on 5 or 6 carries, over 20.
2nd and 5, and Darius Bowman close to the red zone. 4th reception for him of this game. Chattanooga, Tennessee.
A textbook demonstration of what you like about a big receiver. Darius Bowman has that reach, that catching radius. That when he's able to catch it away from his body, not much further away from the reach of the defender.
35 yards in receiving for Darius Bowman, where he's good as after the catch and in big plays. Will a big play be coming here? Riley looking his way, now goes the other. Tucks it, takes it, has a blocker. Mike Riley is going to score! Touchdown! Mike Riley. The mad dash with a lot of help from his friends.
Well, he sure did. And starting all the way back at the line of scrimmage. You keep an eye on the left side of your screen, the fullback, Calvin McCarty. He's going to help out on the defensive end, Opalaugo, and he's bouncing him to the inside. This is what's going to allow Riley to initially get outside on the play. They've taken the contain guy out. Now watch John White, who's right in front of him, bottom of your screen. He gets just enough as Shea Emery. He gets bounced by the bigger man, but he occupies him enough to allow Riley to get by and score.
Great drive engineered by Mike Riley. 8 plays, 75 yards. Took up 4.5 minutes. Under 6 to go before halftime, and a convert away from making it a 6-point ball game. This is what has endeared Mike Riley to so many football fans, not just Edmonton Eskimo fans. If you're a Canadian football fan, you've got to love the way that Mike Riley plays.
Yeah, well, there's some guys where you just ignore what position they play, and by the style of play, you label them as a football player. Mike Riley's one of those guys.
Here's the evidence to that last statement. He's one of those guys. Quarterback, his 3rd major, running the football.
Yeah, as much as any quarterback in the league right now is a guy who can change games with his legs. Not just running to save his life, but running to threaten defenses.
entertaining first half so far. A little bit of everything. The speedster, the flash, Robert Gill. Fumbled the football. The Eskimos have it. Dion Lacey. Johnny on the spot. Robert Gill has fast feet, but that time his hands were not keeping up.
And he takes a pretty good shot, and no surprise on special teams to see Dion Lacey in the middle of things.
Big turnover here. The Eskimos have a chance to take their first lead.
Coming at you. We ain't stop.
Former West Alabama product Dion Lacey, special teams demon.
Well, it's the two of them, number 1 and number 2 on that team in special teams tackles, Dion Lacey and Mike Miller. Miller gets the strip, Lacey gets the recovery.
You needed that. Put it in the zone. Oh, let's go now.
Something the Argos all season. Fumbling the football 19 times more than any other team. Riley fires. Nate Kuhorn has his first catch of the game down to the 20, immediately to the red zone.
Nice combination of routes out here on the left side of this pattern. You're going to see the running back, John White. He's going to release, and that's going to pull defenders to the outside. What it does is opens up space on the inside here as he pulls guys out, creating a window for Nate Kuhorn to come out. There you see Suber widens with John White. That's why you got to get your back out of the backfield. Opens up an easier window to throw.
Kendall Lawrence will carry the mail and brings it down inside the 15-yard line. Setting up second down and short yardage. Mike Riley. Again, team down 14 points in this one. Chance to take their first lead before the end of the first half. Riley looked like he may have nicked his hand a little bit. Here's a guy who's taken a few bumps so far. Nothing keeps him out of ball games. Well, almost nothing.
Yeah, missed a couple of starts this year. There you see the hit from Logan Harrell.
Looked like he also, that when he threw and released the football, it kind of jammed it against Harrell's shoulder pad or helmet. Harrell got a piece of him as well. John White on the sideline being attended to as well. Trying to get an update from Paul Hollingsworth with us today. Glad you're with us today from Rogers Center in Toronto. Good first half of football. Eskimos trying to find the end zone again. 2nd and 4. Here's the rush out of the backfield. Clear sailing. Kendall Lawrence can dance in.
The Eskimos do a nice job mixing things up here, changing the release point from Kendall Lawrence. They bring him from the backfield, release him from behind the line of scrimmage, where he gets lost behind the big guys. You'll see absolutely nobody follows him out of the backfield here. Motions in, shoots out, release from that inside point. Nobody sees him go.
There is not anybody in the picture except for Alex Suber too late. So last week it was all John White. This week it's all Kendall Lawrence.
Whatever works.
And the Edmonton Eskimos have their first lead. Lawrence, a 106-yard kickoff return earlier in the game.
One more for the one more. Continue watching the Eskimo show, baby. We here.
And like